Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Sweeney. I'm a staff attorney at Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service, and this is going to be a brief overview of some new procedures that are going to be required for researching and filing expungements, given some new legislation that went into effect in summer of 2021. So the new case search rules are what is going to be affecting the way that we do expungements moving forward. As of summer of 2021, new legislation requires that Maryland Judiciary Case Search hide any reference to any criminal charge that resulted in a null pros, an acquittal, or dismissal. Now, these cases or charges are not automatically expunged. They're just hidden from case search. They still exist in court records and elsewhere. And a case that receives one of those dispositions on every charge will be completely removed from case search, and individual charges that result in one of those dispositions will be removed from the case with the rest of the charges remaining on case search. And again, it's important to emphasize that these cases will still appear completely on fingerprint reports, certain types of background checks on the MDEC e-filing system and elsewhere in court records, unless they are actually expunged through a court filing. So if you're taking on an expungement client, the new procedure is going to start just as you normally would. You're going to still go to case search, and you can approach things as you are used to by searching the client on case search, and you'll still be able to find any cases that are still listed there. You can see convictions, you can see cases that received a step or probation before judgment, and you can perform the analysis as usual. You can still use the MD Expungement web tool or the website to generate your petitions after you've performed legal analysis on those cases. But there's probably going to still be more from there if there are null process, acquittals, dismissals that have been hidden from the case search website. So the next steps. Starting now, there's going to be a WESTLAW search result given to volunteers who take on expungement cases. This is from the People Search function of WESTLAW, and it is going to display cases that have essentially been scraped from public databases into WESTLAW's database, and that should show other cases that may have been removed from Maryland Case Search. So you can see on the right an example of what that's going to look like. That's a small snippet of what the overall case result printout is going to look like. But you can see that the charges, the relevant dates, the outcome, and the case number, which has been hidden in this particular example, but it will be there. And you'll be able to go from there. Now, one thing that's important, and we will get into that in just a second, this search result page may contain cases that have already been expunged, because if they've been expunged after they've already gone into WESTLAW's database, they may not be yet removed from WESTLAW's database. But this will be an important jumping off point is to look at this WESTLAW search result to see what other cases you might not have found on Maryland Case Search. After reviewing the WESTLAW printout, it's going to be a good idea to go to MDEC, the Maryland Court's e-filing system, and they have their own version of Case Search, which is completely separate from the Maryland Judiciary Case Search system. Theirs is called Smart Search. This is going to be available in any county that has e-filing, which means everywhere currently except Baltimore City, Prince George's County, and Montgomery County. It is somewhat similar to the Case Search website that we're used to. It is a little bit less functional in that it's a little bit harder to sort through things, but I will show as a quick example what that would look like. So this is the Smart Search page. It asks you to search by last name, comma, first name, and then you'll get results. And I'll just wait for it to come up here just to quickly demonstrate what that looks like. And you can see that you'll be able to sort by date of birth still, which is very helpful in finding your client, especially if there are multiple people with the same name. You can see the case type in this column to the right side. And if you were to click into a criminal case, you would be able to see all of the information that you'd normally be able to see on case search, such as the filing date, the disposition date, the charges, the outcomes of the charges. The one thing to note is we are not able to link MD Expungement web tool to Smart Search at this time. So as I mentioned earlier, there are going to be cases on the WESTLAW report that may have already been expunged. So in order to confirm whether or not they've been expunged, first of all, if they are appearing on that MDEC Smart Search function, that means that they have not yet been expunged, and they should be added to your list of expungible cases for your client. And then for a very thorough review, you could also potentially obtain a fingerprint report. And that would be essentially a definitive list of the cases that appear on your client's record. So if something appears on there, that means that that case has not been expunged. And again, that would also show cases that are not showing up on Maryland Case Search, such as null process, acquittals, and dismissals. If, for example, you have a client who you think has cases in Baltimore City or a county that's not on MDEC, and you do not have a fingerprint report, and you find cases on the WESTLAW report that you're not sure if they're expunged, you may wish to call the court to cross-reference, and you could use the case numbers from the WESTLAW report to confirm whether or not they've been expunged. So talking a little bit about fingerprint checks. A fingerprint check is obtained through the Criminal Justice Information System, which we call CJIS for short. And again, that's going to show every case on a client's record. The reason that I have this later in the PowerPoint is that we're not always going to be able to obtain a fingerprint check. It is burdensome for clients to go in person and pay a fee to obtain this check. MVLS will not require that the client obtain a fingerprint report as a prerequisite to getting their case placed with an expungement volunteer. And we ask that our volunteers not require them. However, if you're getting to a point in your search and your analysis that you feel that you really need the fingerprint report to move forward, you can explain to the client that it would be beneficial to them. And you will be able to look on our website to find information on how to refer your client to places where you can get a fingerprint report. It may be possible to reimburse the costs for obtaining a fingerprint report through the Pro Bono Resource Center's litigation fund. So look up their website to find more information about that. And then a final thing about fingerprint reports is that they unfortunately do not show the court case number. They only show a tracking number. They do show most of the other relevant information that you'll need. We do have a tracking number lookup tool that can essentially cross-reference a tracking number and find a case number for you. And that should complete the final missing piece that you need to fill out an expungement petition. So filing is going to look a little bit different because if your case is found elsewhere besides Maryland Case Search, you're unfortunately not going to be able to use our MD Expungement web tool, which has made expungement filing a breeze over the last several years. You would have to enter the information manually into the forms. There are fillable PDFs on the court's website. We have links to them on our website as well. So you will be able to simply type in the information. And if you have a case from case search that you have completed using MD Expungement, you can cross-reference that to kind of see how the form gets filled out. So everything that I mentioned in this video about links to searches, links to court forms, resources, and all sorts of additional educational materials about expungement and this new filing process going forward are available on our website, mvlslaw.org. There's an attorney resources page, and there's an expungement page that's going to have all of these materials that I mentioned. So check out that website and feel free to reach out to MVLS if you have questions about this new process. And thank you so much for being a volunteer.